Welcome back to Tom's World Scale Model Series. In this episode, we unbox Trumpeter's 1/35th scale Russian KV1 heavy tank. If you enjoy programming on scale modeling, then show your support by subscribing to this channel. Leave us a comment, like, dislike, or share the video with friends. Clicking the notification bell gives you alerts when we post new content, or visit the channel Tom's World for a friendly visit for a complete list of all our videos. With its introduction in 1939, the Clement Vereshilov, or KV1, was the world's most powerful tank. With armor thicker than even the French Char B and British Matilda II, the vehicle weighed an astonishing 45 tons, double the weight of German tanks of the time. The KV performed superbly in the Russian-Finnish War, but by mid-41 it was eclipsed by its stablemate, the world-beating T-34. Still, this lumbering giant made a lasting impression. The Germans called it the Russian Colossus. The Soviets nicknamed it Dreadnaught. From unboxing to instructions to a close-up look at the castings, stick with us as we explore Trumpeter's superb rendering of this legendary behemoth. Greetings fellas, and welcome back, and I'm so glad you could take the time to visit with me again today. Well, we've got a not so little ditty from Trumpeter Models. This is going to be the Russian KV1 model 1941 KV small turret tank. It's going to be kit number 00356, released in 2005, and the going price 35 to 42 Canadian or 26 to 32 US dollars today. So we'll just put up the box dimensions just so you get a sense of how big this box actually is. So the KV1 tank was named after a defense commissar in the Russian government, one Clement Vereshilov. And other than being friends with Stalin, he had absolutely nothing to do with the vehicle. So obviously chumming up to the dictator has advantages. A couple interesting aspects about the tank is you'll notice that the drive sprocket is on the rear. A lot of the vehicles that we build, German and Americans, usually have the drive sprocket up front. So that's kind of interesting. And this tank had these enormous tracks actually on the vehicle. It was 27 inches wide and they were steel, so very, very heavy. So that's why they had these gigantic return rollers, almost the same size as the road wheels, so absolutely amazing. The tank also had torsion bar suspension, which was interesting for a vehicle that was designed in 1938-39, a very modern feature. Historians can't agree whether the Germans or the Russians were the first to either invent or use the torsion bar suspension, but there it is on the KV tank, so another interesting feature of this vehicle. Of course, the political slogan on the side of the turret. The turret hatches here are always open forward for Russian vehicles. That's unlike Western vehicles that we've seen before where the hatches usually open to the rear or side. And this is characteristics of Russian vehicles even to this day. Another interesting feature is the driver actually sits in the middle of the hull, not offset like we normally see, so that's kind of almost reminiscent of the Matilda II. And if we look closely in the background there, that soldier's got one of those PTRD rifles. So a quick tour of the box. Well, on this side we've just got your standard box art. It's the same on the other side. And on this side we've got just some pictures of the finished model. It looks pretty good. A little write-up. And not much more there. And then on this side, we've got a 3-angle orthographic view of the finished vehicle, just so we get a sense of what it looks like and the color. And here a little write-up in Chinese, because of course Trumpeter is Chinese, a Chinese company. And then just our decals there. So there's the kit. So before we dive into the box, let's have a quick look at the Trumpeter product line and see what other manufacturers have released kits in the KV1 line. For several years, Trumpeter's line of KV1 tanks has been considered the gold standard in 1/35th scale. With no less than 8 KV1 boxings and additional 7 releases of KV1 variations that we don't show here, the Trumpeter line offers rich pickings. The line contains many of the same sprues, components, overall quality and presentation, so chances are if you like our review sample, then you'll approve of the other boxings. Every popular version of the KV is here, including the Economy, the simplified and heavy cast turret versions, and this very interesting German Panzer KV1 756R tank, which if we look closely is a captured German version with its gun replaced with a KWK-40 L48, a very interesting version indeed. Revell, Ryefield, Zvezda, and Eastern Express also produce KV1s in 1/35th scale. The Zvezda and Eastern Express kits are less refined and lack the multimedia, engineering, and detail of the more premium brands. Likewise, the Revell boxing, which contains the clear headlight, Lincoln-length tracks, and markings to depict a Captain German version, it's a solid release, but it too lacks the crispness and overall sophistication of the top-tier brands. Still, if we're willing to sacrifice a little quality for price, then these brands are worth a look. Rifle's a brand new release for 2020, that's Kit 5040. Information is a little scant on this release, although from the CAD drawings we see the photo etch parts. The kit also has workable tracks, which are a signature feature of many Rifle armor kits. Given the quality synonymous with the Rifle brand, and if you can find the kit, it's likely a gem, but be prepared to pay a premium price. Availability always pulls on our decision of what kit to build. In my neck of the woods, that being North America, many of the brands we've looked at are not stocked by my favorite hobby suppliers. That leaves us with Trumpeter and its chief rival, Tamiya. With 6 major releases and several additional boxings, Tamiya is the other significant manufacturer casting KV1s in this scale. Their first release goes way back to 1972. You can still find this kit on eBay and its original motorized kit version if nostalgia or collecting are your thing. But perhaps Kit 35142, originally released in 1988, is best known to modelers. This kit's been kicking around as reissues and reboxings for years. It's moderately priced but definitely falls short of the newer Trumpeter kits in every respect. But then Tamiya released this bad boy, brand new for 2020 Kit 35372. As if designed to challenge Trumpeter's top billing, early reviews suggest that Tamiya kit edges Trumpeter out for the top spot. In places, Tamiya's build is very similar to Trumpeter's, and the kit contains a length tracks, a crew figure, clear parts including the crewman goggles, a one-piece slide molded barrel, polycaps, and all the quality and fit synonymous with the Tamiya brand. The cast metal surface detail in this kit is also superior to our sample kit, but all this added value comes at a price, as the Tamiya kit can cost double that of the Trumpeter product. But with our Trumpeter kit, we can save a few dollars while not having to compromise quality and fit, and that's why we chose this release for our unboxing and build project. Well, the moment of truth, the unboxing. Let's have a look inside. Whoa, there it is. Oh, so many models, so little time. That's a beautiful thing. Well, it might not be packaged exactly the same way because I do rummage through this stuff before the video, but let's get it all out here. We get 10 opaque sprues, 1 clear sprue, some various and sundries like the hull, the turret, some braided cable, and our so-called rubber band tracks. 299 parts according to the box, so let's get it all out here and have a look. So we get a teeny weeny little bit of paperwork. We've got this full color guide here, shows us all the different angles, so that's very helpful. And it's calling out Gunze, Sanyo, Mr. Colors, which aren't really available in my area. So the green color here is already mismatching from the box side and top, so already we're starting to get into the Russian green controversy. We haven't even started our build yet. And here's our instructions, so let's have a quick look. Just pay attention to the symbiology on the front, get to know that. That's really helpful as you build the kit. We got our sprue map, which is always nice. So there that is, if you want to count all the parts. It does say in this first step that there are some optional things we can put on the tank. So if we want to do that, we can just refer to step 16, which we'll look at in a second. But if you do want to add those extra parts, you do have to drill the holes off the top here. So make sure you do that. We can see that the build-up, even right down to the hull, is not the simplest, but that's cool. I mean, this is what we buy these kits for. So that all builds up. We'll see how that, how well engineered that is. Here we're just putting in some of the upper hull. And this A28 piece, we'll look at this. This is near microscopic, definitely the tiniest pieces. So that's going to be a little bit of a patience tester. I see we're building up right down to the bump stops, and here are the mounts for the return rollers. Now we do see we get the swing arms, but we don't get the actual torsion bars. So that's kind of cool. That'll simplify things, and those swing arms, that'll be fine. Alright, so what are we looking at here? So just more of the upper hull. These pieces are not PE, these are solid plastic, but that's fine, they still look good. And just more of the swing arms going in, some of the caps going in on the engine deck there. And our wheels, and they show you a detailed way of the length and link tracks going together, so that's helpful when it's all the sags built in. And the tracks, the rubber band ones, it looks like they're vinyl because they're actually calling for melting these together. We haven't seen this since the Tamiya 70s kit. Those vinyl tracks I'm not crazy about. We'll look at them, but we're definitely going to go with the plastic length and link. Alright, so here we're finishing up the lower hull while getting close anyways, mounting all the wheels and everything. The gun doesn't swivel, it doesn't look like. Tamiya would have probably made that swivel, but that's fine, that's just hard glued in. And then here we're just finishing up the lower hull with all the running gear and everything else, straightforward. And here we're putting on the tracks, yep, straightforward, and there's the fenders. You know, the tank is fairly simple, other than the tiny parts, and there's 8 of them. Pretty big forms, pretty big pieces, so even intermediate models wouldn't have any problem with this kit. Here the turret's going together. It does look like the gun elevates. And a machine gun on the back turret, I don't know, it's nasty. You definitely don't want that. But, you know, the early tank, 1938-39. And it's just glued in, doesn't swivel or anything. So there that is. Very straight construction. One piece slide molded barrel, as we'll see. And there's the mantlet. We're not going to play guess the parts. Do you have an option? Yeah, it looks like we do have an option. Huh, okay. We can use 2 different mantlets. Oh, well, that's kind of nice. Alright, so there's the rest of the, the upper hull, the pieces, odds and sods going in there. I don't see any Pioneer tools on this thing. Interesting. Alright, here we're making the turret, and let's say we're supposed to cut the brass wire. There's some braided brass wire for the tow cable. And we're supposed to cut to, 36, I think it says there, millimeters. It does actually give us a little ruler, so that's kind of nice. Now this step, I have no idea what this is. Finish. So no idea. Well, I guess you could write your own instructions, but there that is. And then, these are these optional parts, so if we drill these holes in step 1, that doesn't seem to me like they all match up, but there it is. It says we have supplied optional parts if you so desire. So there's some optional parts here, odds and sods. There's some extra armor, which they did in fact clag onto the KV1, and a little bit under there. So there that is. So the rubber band tracks, they're not the greatest. You can see they got a bit of a mind of their own. They're kind of wrapped up in the packaging, which gives them a bit of memory, so we can see that they're kind of, I don't know, bent all over the place. The details on the rubber band tracks aren't bad. I mean, you have no knockouts on the back, as we'll see on the length and length tracks. But they must be ABS or vinyl or something, because again, it's called out that we have to melt them together. But it's a little, it's got flash, and also somebody really wrapped the little tie down really tightly on it and distorted some of the ends here, as we can see. You can cut that off because it did break off in real life, but I don't think we're going to use these. They're not the greatest. Alright, so here's our length and link tracks. That's going to be sprue T for Tango. We get 2 of these. And you can see that they got the sag built in. They look fantastic. The detail's great. And some knockout scars on the back. They're pretty shallow. We can always cover them with mud, though. That's why we love armor building. So these look great. We're going to definitely use these. They look fantastic. No problems there. Yeah, they look great. And here's your decals. Very simple. Just markings for 2 vehicles, and that would just be the painted slogans that go on the side of the turret. Now, if I catch it in the light, we can see that there's quite a lot of carrier film all between the letters. So I don't know if it'd be worthwhile cutting all those out, but there those are. So there's your hull, and it's sort of bathtub style. Now we do stick sides on here, so it doesn't really matter about this texture. But to give you an idea of how big this vehicle is, I'll throw in a shot here of this little hull here compared to a Panzer Kampfwagen II to give you some sense of how big this vehicle was. But the detail on the hull's pretty good. You know, it's got a little bit of that bolt details on the bottom and a little bit of weld bead detail there, so it's adequate. But it is flashy from what I'm seeing already. I do see flash. And here's your turret. It's all one piece. It's got good detail on it. I'll cut it a bit closer so we can see that. But to my eye, it is really missing that sort of rolled cast texture look. This is a little fine. It has a bit of texture to it, but not near as much as I would like to see, because that's some of the charm of these Russian tanks, is they just look like these rough cast beasts. But there that is. And here's your clear sprue, just a little one, your headlight, and looks like maybe the rear stop lamp. And that's going to be S for Sierra, this, and it's nice that this is included in the kit. The new Tamiya KV1 kit also has the clear parts, plus the goggles for the figure. But sometimes Tamiya neglects to put this piece in when they have a big headlight, and it really kind of sucks, but there it is. And we get a length of this braided copper wire. This is my favorite to make towing cables with in scale models, because they conform to whatever shape we put them in. So that's kind of nice. They give us enough for the whole model, and hopefully a little bit left over for our stash. We're not going to look at all the sprues because there's just too many, but we can look at a few of them and just have a look at how the sculpting looks and how the casting looks. In general, those wheels are nice, but they got some really tiny parts. These are these 28 parts that we saw in the instructions. Probably the smallest parts in the kit, so there those are. And the casting's good, but again, a little flashy. I suspect that these molds are probably used to cast all the KV1s and the KV2s in that Trumpeter line. So after a while, things do get a little bit loose and flashy. And we can see the exhaust ports are slide molded here, but again, quite a bit of flash and quite a dramatic parting line seam there. So a little rough on the casting there. So we get the small sprue, it's M1, Mic 1, this is where our gun is. It's a one-piece gun and we can see that it is slide molded. Kind of a weird slide molding method. Looks like they just pushed a hot rod through there. But we do see the flash and we do see the parting line, so we're gonna have to clean that up. And some very small parts here, and they're actually quite nice, the detail. Getting close here. Tiny little wing nuts, look at the size compared to my finger. Again, flashy, but a little bit of cleanup and that'll look fantastic. And same thing up here, this part is quite nice, quite delicate, looks good. Probably these moldings aren't probably as crisp as the new 2020 Tamiya line, I would say. So this is sprue D1, Delta 1, and again, evidence of slide molding. I think these would be the ends for the tow cables. Again, we can see a kind of a parting line there that we'll have to clean up. Here we got these stowage bins, and the hinge detail's nice. If I can get on the side, the handle detail, you know, maybe not as crisp as the newest Tamiya kit. We do see a little bit of flash, so we're going to have to clean this up. But you know, at half the price, here's the these ginormous return rollers, just huge. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, and here are the engine cover grills. So there's no PE in this kit, but these look pretty good for styrene. So we do get a choice of barrel. I found a second one here on this sprue, and for November. Again, it's one piece slide molded, very nice. The parting line seems to be a little bit less hideous on this one. This actually looks like a better little sprue here. And we do get a choice of a couple of different mantlet arrangements. So there that one is. And that's just some of the extra armor, nothing too exciting on this sprue, but that's N for November. And here's C for Charlie. Just wanted to show some of the fender detail because the fenders are so prominent. So there they are. Again, not ultra crisp, a little bit of flash here and there, but definitely adequate for the price. And it is slide molded, kind of hard to see, but there it is there, slide molded. And some nice detail there, big bolts, so that's going to take a wash. It's going to look fantastic. And our swing arms, nothing too exciting, but they're all there as well. So I just wanted to show that fender detail, and this is kind of a neat part. That's that engine cover part, classic, and many Soviet vehicles. So there that is. And that'll do it for this episode. Join us again for more unboxings, product reviews, and build videos. Drop us a sub, leave us a like, dislike, or gripe in the comments. Or stop by the channel Tom's World for a friendly visit for more entertaining and educational videos. Until next time, comrades, do zbadania, dobry večer, stay well, and all the best.